Hello, my name is Sin de Vainglory, and these are button boots, a shoe which look weird on you and look even weirder when you're talking to yourself in front of a camera and there's passers-by. So, turns out Victorian Edwardian times, women had boots, heels. Do you know how women used to dress? Men, on the other hand, it turns out, were not really keen to wearing just shoes. They had to have boots. Now, historical record is a bit off, obviously. We don't really know for sure what men were allowed to wear all the time. But majority of the time, if you saw a man, he was wearing boots. I'm assuming it's because of that old joke where ankles are really sexy and only women should be allowed to show it to you on a very special night. But apart from that, it seems as though it was just more of a more masculine thing where for 100 years men wore boots. And button boots were one of those very special boots. You may have seen a revival on those type of boots on brands like Taft and Gilt and all those other kind of internet stores. But it's very easy to see why this remains a very strong staple in the vintage community, and the vintage community only. I don't consider myself a part of that community. I just like the aesthetics of this. But I have to really emphasize, it is so hard to get into these shoes. They require a special tool, a button hook, and my order did not come with one, so I had to order that separately, and it's still not here. So it takes you, and I kid you not, 10 minutes to button these shoes. My fingers still hurt from the buttons. I can see why they went out of style, and the fact that the women's versions could go all the way up to their knees. As you can imagine, if you saw a man in this, he had a fair amount of coin and a very good suit to go with it, or at least some suit separates. I love looking at those old vintage catalogs of the guys with their top hats and their huge coats and their just straight bedsheet looking pants that just cut off at the ankle there, because that was the style at the time, hence my ankle joke. Most of the sites that I've seen, like American Duchess for women, it goes just to the shins. It's a lot more tinier buttons though. I can't even imagine doing those with my naked hands like I did these ones today. There are some more quality websites out there where you can get the shoes. I was just curious. I wasn't so sure if I was going to like this boot, particularly since the first time I saw them in real life, it was a woman wearing them with a pair of jeans and a fake marching jacket that looked like it had been picked up from ragstock. So I loathed her and I hated it, which is really funny because it seems like today I'd be serenading her of some sort, but here we are. As it turns out, these are the preferred boots of the DC villains, although that's not too specified, as the DC villains look like they also wear spatterdashes, which is one of my favorite words, spatterdashes. Now, these particular examples on my feet were handmade in Pakistan for sub $200, so that should give you a good idea of what kind of quality you're going to be getting at such a price. For starters, I'm not going to let you see it, maybe you'll notice it later on, but the shoes are a bit asymmetrical in their tapering of the button boot part. They were also advertised as black and white, but they're more of an ash. I would imagine when Geralt of Rivia is looking for Ciri and is describing her hair as ashen, this is the shade of white he was talking about. My other jacket fits it better than this one does, so it's an acquired taste as far as white goes. Go for the good stuff. Don't get that Stacey Adams. Don't get the Madden looking spat looking boots. Like, they look like they're spats and they look like they're button boots, and they just end up being this nonsense in between that I don't think is good for anyone's aesthetic, to be honest. But I'm happy with what I have here, and I'm so happy actually that I have gone on ahead and ordered another pair. That's ill-advised that you do that, but I have done it and learned from my mistakes. The kind of compliments I've gotten so far, of course, people either just give you a very weird look, because these are out of time. These are out of time. There's no hiding that. So people either really give you a weird look, or people walk up to you and say, "Those are really nice shoes, sir." Say thanks. And you get some jokes like, "Hey, old timer, haha." Or you just get uncontrollable laughter. I literally had to stop a take because someone was walking up these stairs back here and just burst out laughing. So there's that. But when you decide to start dressing up like I do, you have to develop thick skin. You can't let these things get under your skin. Not all of it will not get under your skin. Some of it definitely will. It's just those things will be said, and you're just going to have to keep them in mind. But you have this visual aesthetic in mind, especially me. I really should have worn a suit, but I just like looking like this more than I do in a suit. And you look in the mirror, and just the visual sex of it is what makes you happy. So I hope you do that. I hope you wear these boots, if you decide to buy them, that is, that it's because you make you happy. Or you want to look like a DC villain, because that's why I'm wearing them. Good night, and cheers.